Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham, and I'm with Herman.
Hi there, I'm Herman.
Herman in California. We're in front of the Carmelite Monastery. Is that it?
Correct, Central California.
Do you feel holy? Okay,
Holier than thou.
it's a nice, quiet place, and we're in California, near Monterey and Carmel. Okay. Herman asked a very good question, and I really thought it was kind of intuitive, okay? Because I like to say, I'm here and you're not, why not? And I started doing this, I don't know, a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when I was in Tours, France, okay? And so we're going to talk about this phrase today and try to help you to understand why I say it, or why I don't even know why I say it, okay? Don't think that I always know what I'm doing. Actually, unfortunately, I'm kind of addicted to the rush of chaos, okay? That's part of being a traveler I've been traveling for 26 years and lived in 114 countries, but I'm here in California. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions and try to, you got to talk a little loud, so
Okay.
you're kind of a quiet speaker. Okay. Do you think I want to live in California?
You mean you, Andy? Living
Yeah. Do
here.
I want to live in California?
I don't think so.
Why not? If I had the money, say I had $10 million.
Oh, yeah, I think you could be happy here, but given your mission in life, it appears to me that you want to continue traveling.
Yes, I want to continue traveling. But on the other side, one of the questions is, I'm here and you're not, why not? What does that mean to you? Does it sound arrogant?
Well, I've listened to it for a number of years because I've watched a lot of your videos, and it stimulates my thinking. And in many cases, for example, when you were in Guatemala at Lake Atipan, which is one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and the weather is great, I would wish to be there myself. And I keep wanting to answer back through the video and telling you, hey, Andy, there's a reason why I'm not there yet. So that's the question. That is basically why I'm asking that question. We got different things. We got time, we got money, we've got jobs, we've got all these things. And a lot of people look at me. I actually, an Andyism of Andy is I like to tell people that I live in a $10 room. And I call it an Andyism. An Andyism is kind of a way to take you off the scent. Okay? Mm-hmm. Obviously, a guy that's gone to 100 plus countries and done it for 26 years isn't really poor, okay? On the other side, if I tell you I'm living in a $10 room, people instantly say they don't want that, okay? And that's why it's an Andyism. By me saying, I'm here and you're not, why not? All I've done is opened up a can of worms in a way. And I wanted to do it in a polite way and not a rude way, right? Because often people are acting, I would never do that. And they have this, and in my opinion, you're trapped. Okay, people are trapped. Okay, mm-hmm. And if I have the money to live there, and I have the time to live there, and you don't, what does that say? You're saying if you have the money and the time.
I have the money. I'm here right now. Mm-hmm. I have the time, I have the money, I have the freedom to live here.
Well, in that sense, you're wealthier than I am because you have the freedom. And I think freedom is one of the things that
he understands the word freedom.
that we long for. So those of us who follow you, and we could be anywhere on the planet, but usually in the United States, we have careers, we have families, we have property, and often that's what holds us, and children, of course, grandchildren, what keeps us in a certain place. So a lot of people take vacations in America or Europe, but I think what you're doing is different. For a long time, I viewed you as a professional or perpetual tourist, but you pointed out to me you don't consider yourself a tourist.
I actually don't like tourists.
Yeah.
I mean, tourists are like a one-night stand, okay? It's a friend that you have for one night stand. You get drunk with them, and then you boot them out the door. That's what a tourist is.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy.
I hate to be that blunt about it, but tourism is a very, very selfish thing because they spend a lot of money to get where they're at. And they gotta seize every possible piece of pleasure they can get. And that is the opposite, in my opinion, of having a wealthy life. Okay, time is the one commodity that I think, I call it the mantra of the United States. I call them up, I haven't talked to them in a year, and they say, I'm busy. And I go, can you make an exception for at least 15 minutes and we can talk? Okay. I haven't talked to you for a year and they're too busy to talk for 15 minutes. And that is why I came up with this saying, because I'm here and you're not, why not? It says to you, I want you to ask yourself why you're not there. Now, a lot of people cannot even ask that question because they have all these, they're living in a box, okay? And to escape that box, everybody says, live outside the box. And I say, you guys love to live in the box. Okay. But does it make you afraid? Would it make you afraid to leave for 6 months?
Well, me personally, it would not make me afraid. What would concern me would be my responsibilities that I have here. Now, I am self-employed, and I'm responsible to take care of other people because I'm in the elder care business. And even though I have staff, it's a very small home. It's I do the shopping, I help take people to the doctors, etc. I help to hire and fire and all of those things. So I cannot realistically at this time take off 6 months or even 1 month. I've basically built myself a prison. I've been doing this business for since 1985, and it is successful, but it is the way I've created and designed it. It all hinges on me. And although I'm getting close to retirement and I'm looking for a replacement person that could take over, there are not many that want to work 60 plus hours a week, 6 and 7 days a week. Even though I enjoy what I do, there aren't many people like that.
So when we talk about freedom, what does that mean?
Well, it means a number of things, but I wanted to mention this other thing is that in the United States, they've done surveys, and the majority of the people here in the U.S. believe that America is the greatest country on earth and that we are the best and this is the best place to live. And so when you've been traveling all over the world and you've shown us a window on many places that would be suitable, maybe even superior in some ways, certainly financially, to live. So unless we get out there and really experience it for ourselves, we're kind of stuck over here.
Well, I'm here and you're not, why not? And it's because of financial security. Okay, I can travel because I'm financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually free. I have time to travel. Now, what's interesting to me, and contrary to what the world thinks, I don't believe people want to be free. I think in kindergarten they're taught to stand in line, and they're standing in line for the rest of their life. They actually will fight and pay, I don't know, $400,000 to go to Yale so that they can work 30 years of their life. There's a little bit of it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of crazy in a certain way, right? But I have, the reason why I ask you, do you think I want to live here? I have zero desire to live here. Okay, absolutely the worst possible place on the planet to live is here, in my opinion. Now, I don't want to insult where you're living, but for me, I've seen the world, and what makes me feel free is when I have the money to always do what I want to do. Okay, first of things, I want to live inside my means, and I want to feel like I never have to think about money. Everybody in California is thinking about money.
Well, they have to. The cost of living here is very high, and it's going to be even higher.
Okay, why not?
Why not? What?
I'm asking the question. I'm here and you're not. Why not? So
well, let me continue.
The cost of living.
There's another reason, and that's family ties. So I'm married, and I've told my wife I would really love to live in Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. And she says, no way, Jose. And she is hooked into all the things and the lifestyle that we've built up. So quite frankly, if I were to make that move, and that may be true for some of your other listeners, it would be a deal changer, and that probably would end our marriage, quite frankly.
And the why not is what I say at the end, right? Why not? And so I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm saying, why not? We only have one life.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to ask ourselves, why not? Don't get me wrong. To me, family is the most important thing. Okay, family, children. I just talked to my friend yesterday, and he's bound and determined. He's earning $300,000 a year, and he has all these animals, but he doesn't want a child. I go, having 30, 40 animals is worse than having a child in a lot of ways, but he keeps digging a bigger hole. Okay, and I'm sitting there going, come on, what's the goal? You're trying to make sure you have no family. Now you have a family, so I'm proud of you. And you have a sense of belonging, and you have a purpose, okay? Earning money is not a purpose. Having a house is not a purpose, in my opinion. Now, most people spend their whole life working on their house so they can die with their house, I guess. I mean, my observation of the world is the house is more important than anything.
Well, there's a number of things. Years ago, I worked as a bus driver in Los Angeles, and we had 5,000 drivers in the union, and they had a union publication, came out every month, and it featured all the men who had died, and women, usually men though, who had died in the previous month. And there was an amazing statistic that the union found, and that is that no matter how long or short a person worked for the company, which in those days was often decades, and then they would retire, that within 2 years is when most of those men died. Yeah. And the reason is they all had looked forward to retirement. They had their boats and cars and stuff they were going to do, and then they sat down in their lazy boy and watched TV or did the honey-do list, and when that was over with, they had no more purpose, I believe, and they died. Now, I do have a purpose, and it's partly spiritual, but I've supported charity causes for many, many years, and I was raised in a kind of a stricter church which believed in tithing, where you give 10% of your income. And there's also a book that I read years ago. It's not a religious book, but it's called The Success Secret of the Ages, still available. And it gives all these examples of people through history that have tithed, starting with Joseph in Egypt and so forth. But there was a famous sea captain who retired on a huge house in I don't know, it was Plymouth, Massachusetts. And he told a young boy, son, if you want to become successful, do what I did. And he told him about the secret of tithing. But to get back to where I'm at, I'm not doing it to get money. Whatever I give because I want to out of my heart, not because I believe it's going to get me more. Although I do believe there's a principle. Someone once said, you can't outgive God. In other words, God will never become your debtor. And some of you listening may not believe in God. That's okay. But the principle of helping others, you can't help others without helping yourself in the long run. And so the reason I'm still here is because the day that I stop my business or sell it, I will have to discontinue most of my charity work because I'm self-employed. I don't have a big pension. I have Social Security. And that's why going to Lake Atitlan was interesting to me. I can live on very little. And I live in my facility. I don't have a lot of space for myself. I share the facility. And we have a good life. We have a community. That's the other reason I'm here. I've built up a community of residents and workers and volunteers, and we all get along. We're all happy. We have dogs as pets, which the residents love, and all of these things. So,
Okay, so the question at the end, why not, is what is the meaning of life? That's my question.
you didn't start out that way.
No, but if I ask you to tell me the meaning of life, what people are very good at, in my opinion, is telling you what they don't want. Okay, They're not very good about telling you what they want. They're very good about telling you what they don't want. Okay, so when I travel to different places, I'm always asking the question, is this what you want? Okay, and why not? What it does help people to do, though, is to define their life where they're at and say, Andy's there, and I'm happy I'm here. If you ask the question, so the question always has to be is, are you happy where you're at? And a lot of people that are not happy get real angry when I ask that question.
Well, I'm happy where I'm at. I've lived in this area since 1989. The weather is nearly perfect and never too hot, never too cold, central coast of California, but beautiful scenery, etc. But I've lived in Colorado. I was raised in Buffalo, New York, and I enjoyed the snow. Of course, I was much younger. I'm 73 now, and I was born in Germany. And I came here as an immigrant when I was 7. My parents put me on a plane by myself, and my great aunt, great uncle met me in New York City at the airport, and I was adopted by them, and I was given an education, and I appreciated my life here. But if I had been raised in Germany with my 3 other brothers, I would have had a good life over there. But you ask about the purpose of life. That's a pretty deep question, but I believe, well, first of all, I believe that the universe was created by a super being, a God, and that we were put on this planet for a purpose. And there's a lot of bad stuff going on in this planet and conflict, and many people have a really miserable life. I mean, if you're a young girl in Cambodia and you're being sex trafficked and abused and all kinds of horrible stuff happens, that's not a good thing. And there's too much bad on this planet. So I believe that the only way I can put a positive spin on that is, and all the wars and stuff's going on in Gaza now and Ukraine and so forth, the poverty and the famine, is that there is something beyond this life. This is a fairly short life. And I believe that we come to this planet to learn some lessons. And then when we go, our body remains, goes back to the dust, and our spirit goes back to wherever it came from God. And hopefully we'll have learned something. Now, those people that were unfortunate enough to have a really bad life, I believe, unlike a lot of Christians who say, you know, if you don't accept Jesus in this life, you're out of luck and you're going to go to an ever-burning hell, blah, blah, blah. I think that's bullshit. If that's really what it is, I would say I don't want to serve that kind of a God. However, there are scholars that have translated the Bible, and it talks about the aeons, the ages of time, and that when people die, God will give them a chance. So, yes, we go through this life. We're all responsible for our own decisions to a degree, and we will have to learn. And some have to learn more. Somebody like Adolf Hitler or Joseph Stalin, hey, they're going to be put through the threshing machine on the other side. A lot more than a little old lady in Pasadena that maybe got her kicks by watching soap operas. So, you know, kind of a long ways around, but everybody has a different life, and I try to respect everybody's, you know, where they're going. I may not agree with what they're doing, but we have freedom. At least to a certain extent. I do believe that here in America, through the advertising agencies, we are being propagandized to a huge degree. COVID-19 and the lockdowns prove that, and people followed like the sheeple and did exactly what the government said. And now they found out that 6-foot rule was bullshit. It has no basis in reality. The masks, Stanford proved they don't do anything. And we were put through this huge thing which destroyed the economy in many countries, just so to see how we could be controlled. And in the future, when the next pandemic comes, yeah, they'll have a playbook to go with. So hopefully that won't be too soon.
Well, in the Bible, they have parables. And so to me, I'm here and you're not, why not? It's kind of a parable. Okay, it means that you can interpret it in many different ways. And if you can give a gift to anybody, is you can ask them, what is your purpose in life? Do you believe in God? Are you living a good life? Are you giving the time? At the one commodity we don't have is time. I mean, the biggest problem I see inside the United States is they don't even have the time to contemplate whether they're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Okay, they spend all their time driving, talking, working, and they don't take the time for people. I had a friend, Joe, when I worked in concrete like 20-some years ago. He had like 12 kids. And I said, Joe, how do you afford 12 kids? And he said, Andy, it's not money, it takes time. But if we want the world to be a better place, we have to have the time. Okay, and that's what I'm concerned about. And when I'm saying that, I'm challenging people to think why they're not where I'm at and what they, and people get very, don't get me wrong, I get hate mail for that phrase. But that's good, because if I make somebody so angry that they write me just because I ask a simple question, right? That's confusion. And confusion is, in my opinion, what is God is good orderly direction. What is opposite of God is confusion. So I'm asking a confusing question in the hope that people take a pause and think about their existence. And that is what I think any preacher, minister, cleric, mosque, anybody should ask, why? Why am I here? I'm here and you're not. Why not? See, when you ask a direct question, they'll come up with a platitude answer. Everybody can come up with this wonderful answer, like why they go to work and all this stuff. But if you ask it in the reverse way, the inverse way, you get them to think, am I really doing the right thing? Okay, and that's what I think God wants us to do. He wants us to ask the question, is today, am I doing the best thing for the world and myself and people? And so that's the reason why I came up with that question, because I knew that I was talking to tourists, okay? Tourists are extremely egotistical, selfish people, okay? All they want to do is make sure they just spent $4,000 to get to Tours France. They got a checklist, and they're going to work that checklist just like they do the business, and they're going to go home and they're going to tell everybody what they did. They're not actually trying to make the world a better place. It's an extremely selfish thing to be a tourist. Okay, but what your lifestyle is about, and the reason why I'm here is because I felt that you actually care about people. That's why I came. I didn't come from California. This has got to be the worst possible place for me to live. Okay, I was talking to the one girl today. I said, how much money does it cost to escape? Okay, every place I'm at, I have to figure out how much money does it cost to escape. In the United States, because of the cars, makes it very difficult to travel. Anywhere else on the planet, I can just walk out in the street and get a taxi and a car, a bus, and leave. Only in the United States am I captured. And I'm only feeling afraid here. This is the only place I feel afraid is inside the United States. And that shouldn't be.
Well, if you had a car, would that lessen the fear?
No, I got one more anchor, one more thing to take care of, one more baby to take care of, right? I found a car last time I was home, and the minute I found a car, I realized I was taking away my freedom. Okay, because at the end of the day, are we free? Are we captured by our own, it's like we're on a treadmill, right? Just going over and over and over. And the more things I have, the more things people have, the more I feel sorry for them.
Well, let me ask you
this. And people
Yeah.
take that as an insult, and they should, okay? Because what gives me the right to say that I should feel sorry for them, right? But I have almost nothing, right? And I feel incredibly rich.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can say goodbye to anybody.
Well, here's the thing. You still have your health, and you're getting to the age that what most people would retire. And, you can continue doing what you've been doing. But like I asked you the other day, what would happen if you physically can't travel as much, if you need medical services? Would you stay in a certain place in Colombia or Guatemala or someplace else, or would you come back to Indiana where you grew up, where you have family?
Okay. What I want is to have friends that have the time to be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the United States right now. The people.
Well, that brings up a good point. Many people have a few friends, even if it's just 2 or 3, and if they've lived in an area for a long time, like I have 2 or 3 really good friends. They're like brothers. And part of me moving away, not wanting to move away, would be I wouldn't lose the friendship, but I wouldn't be able to be with them anymore the way I have been. So, that's another factor. I mean, there's all kinds of factors.
But that is the reason for the question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is to get you to actually say, I have friends. I mean, there's people I know that have 0 friends. Okay, mm-hmm. And I go, because what do they want? They got so angry at their wife, and they got divorced, and they said, I will never love again. Okay, which is kind of humorous to me, because that's 50% of the population in the United States. And the community. So why do I travel? Is for community. Okay. Am I here? Is because I felt that you wanted friendship and community. Okay, I didn't come for California. This has got to be the most complicated place on the planet to live. Okay, I mean, right up there with Paris, France. Okay, I mean, Paris is a wonderful place, but you only stay there for 2 days because the cost is so thing. I paid like, I don't know, 24 euros to have 2 coffees and a Coke one time that was 15 years ago. Living within our means is what makes us feel safe. When we feel like we can afford our lifestyle, that's when we feel safe. So the first thing to me is the prioritization of, can I afford the life I'm living in? Then the next time is, then the people that to me are really rich are the ones that always have time for people. Like, I was really proud of you. We went to Costco's the other day and you stopped and talked to people. That made me very happy.
Yeah, they were people that I know,
but
and they happen to be shopping. Yeah.
When I call up an American, I almost assume they're going to say, I'm busy. And I go, did you plan your life to be busy, or did you plan your life to be free? Okay, and we go to university for what reason? To live at I try to tell my nephew, he's moved to London, and I said, is that where you want to live? And I said, if you're going to get paid $100,000, first choose where you want to live, and then get the job. Don't get the job and have the boss enslave you living in a place where you don't want to live. I do think you're living where you want to live.
For right now, but I'm the type of person that I could live happily. When I was in Denver, I was happy there. When I was in Buffalo, I was happy there. I went to college in England for 2 years. I was happy there. And so part of what in life is to have the attitude of gratitude. And I've noticed with you, Andy, that you're always thankful for things. And that makes a huge difference. It's called grateful living. And a lot of people don't have that, and they're carrying this baggage on their back of all the bad stuff that's happened to them. And maybe they believe their life is wrecked because, they were with the wrong person, or they were abused, or whatever. But we have to let things go. Forgiveness is a big principle. There's a lot of books on that. So we need to let that go and make the best. I often tell the families of the elderly residents that move to our home, and they're mostly in their 80s and 90s, some younger, some older. But I tell them it's great that we have never known your loved one until they come here, because then we will help them to focus on what they have left of their life, not what they've lost. Whereas when the families come, they look at their loved one and they think, oh, Joe was such a nice guy, and he was a general, and he did this, and he used to fly airplanes, or he was an inventor, or a teacher, or an artist, and now he's reduced to very little things he can do. And yet we found that these people, we've created an environment, they're often very happy at that stage of their life. And we're not harping on what they used to be or what they've lost. We just enjoy the day as it goes on.
Well, I think you can understand why I asked that question, why I say that. Because it makes everybody think, right?
Oh, yeah. I think it's great.
Truly, the angrier they get, the more happy I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because that means they're not doing what they want to do. Okay, when I had a flippant, I was talking to my friend Mark yesterday, and he says, well, people ask well, that sounds like a stupid question. Well, that's their denial of even being able to address the question, right? You're actually, what I was proud of you is you actually wanted to talk about it. Okay, and that is what we want. What is the job of a writer? What is the job of a video person? Is it to entertain you and give you to dream about something you're never going to do? Or is it to actually say, you could or you couldn't. You could, maybe you can, way you can. Why can't you do this? Okay, I want to give a life that's reality. That's the reason why I always celebrate the $10 room in Colombia or something like that. Everybody can leave. There's people right now in California on the East Coast and West Coast that are going to retire, and they will never ever be able to retire.
Well, that's true. Now, there's a couple of things I'd like to mention. Years ago, I ran into a website from Bob Wells called Cheap RV Living, and he has impacted the lives of thousands of people. And they even have a convention in Quartzsite, Arizona every January or February called RTR, Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. And people that are living in motorhomes and vans and so forth. And many of them have transformed their lives because of this, doing this. And they camp on BLM land, and they have caravans, they follow each other around and so forth. That's one thing. The other one that I ran into, I have two friends that moved to the Philippines. And one is Mark Thornton, and he has a website on YouTube called Every Man Has a Story, and it is fascinating. He interviews people. And the other one is Paul in the Philippines. But each of them did not go to the Philippines. They were senior citizens to marry a woman, but they went there because their money, their little Social Security check, could no longer support them in the United States. And the one guy, Paul, was a car salesman for decades in Orange County and in Las Vegas. And he says simply, he says, I could have continued, but I would have had to work basically until I die. And he didn't want to do that. And he had grown kids and divorced and all that. Now, they've both created beautiful lives in Dumaguete, the Philippines. And they happen to also have met two wonderful women. They're both married now, and one of them even has a child. Mark has a child. He's 70, and he has grown daughters. But his younger wife, both of them are younger wives, they love children in the Philippines, as you know. So that was how they solved their problem, and they're very, very happy. So there are different ways to solve some of these issues.
Okay, but the first step is to ask, why am I here? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to call it a day on this
All
one.
right.
Life is good. I'm here and you're not. Why not?
To be continued.
I'm here and you're not. Why not? I've been in 114 countries, and I've lived abroad for 26 years, and I've traveled anywhere and everywhere I want to. I can live in Europe. I can live anywhere I want. But I choose my life. I don't have the life choose me. I choose the life I live.
And one final comment. Andy has a Patreon channel, correct?
Yes.
Tell them about your Patreon channel.
Well, a Patreon is a person that signs up to be supportive once a month. And if you believe that I'm telling the truth, and you believe that my mission to try to explain why I'm here, you're there, and all this stuff is important to people, and that a lot of you that are afraid to, nothing worse than not having enough money to stop working. Okay, life isn't only about work. It's about enjoying the time you spend with your friends. My Patreon is, you can do it for $5. We have $5, $25, $100. And it's a way of supporting what I do, the way that I explain the world to people. And if you believe in me, become a Patreon. The link will be in the description. Life is good.
Have a great day.